Hello, welcome to another tonalist landscape oil painting demonstration. This is your painter in residence. I'm Francis McCarthy, and the painting I'm bringing you today is called Through the Park. It's a 5x7, and let me tell you the tale of this painting. I did it a couple days ago. I had a show recently which took a week out of my life. Well, it took longer than that, but it took a week to get the show hung, everything framed, everything sorted out, food prepared, everything, which is great. You know, I've had some nice sales and good feedback from the show, so that's all great. But that's a week I wasn't painting. And then working on this studio in my back garden, and that's going great, but that's also taken a bunch of time. Oh, looks like we're out of focus right now. Don't worry, it'll come back. There you go. But you know, that's all going to pay off too. Big dividends, and with big paintings. And but the consequence is like 2 weeks no painting. You know, and if I go the way that I've set my mind up in my life is that if I go too long without painting, I get really antsy. Not so bad when I'm on vacation. Pardon me for the sniffle. I just had a sneeze. But you know, if regular life's going on and stuff, I've got to get on it. I've got to get some painting done. So, you know, and then the thing is, so what do you do? What do you do if you haven't painted for a while? And you want to get into it? Do you think it's a good idea to grab that 24 by 36 giant canvas and start work on your masterpiece? If you haven't painted for a while, do you think that's a good plan? I don't think that's a good plan. I think it's probably not a good plan. What's a good plan is to get in something small. Also, I have a bunch of figurative things I want to get done because I've been having some good sales on those sorts of things, and I'm going to start putting them on the channel too. I don't mind. You know, it's all very tasteful. And anyway, I'm digressing. But I didn't want to get into that because basically I consider myself to be a landscape painter. If you go to my site, it's called landscapepainter.co.nz, or NZ, as we would say, as you would say in the States. I'm not in the States, that's why they got me saying NZ. So a small landscape is perfect. And what I decided to do is the scene that we're going after today, similar to some other scenes that I've had good success with, but it had like some weird shapes in it, things I had questions about, things I would have to like definitely modify. And normally I'd go after this kind of scene as 11 by 14. Now, for a long time I was doing a small study prior to doing a larger painting. Maybe about 2-3 years I did that. And one of the, you know, what I was trying, and if you look at the, or listen to, or watch the live version of this painting session, which is in the members area, for the reasonable cost of $6 a month, you can tip in, tip out, whatever, and support this channel. You know, that's a great way to support the channel. Anyway, again, back to the point. Maybe about 7 years ago, maybe even longer, I come across this little tiny painting by John Enneking, who I was trying to remember in the live session what the name of that painter was, and unfortunately I cannot find that little reference image. One day it'd be so great, but it was just the most brilliant little small painting, and I never forgot it. Brilliant color, brilliant brushwork, awesome composition, and you know, you could see he could put it together pretty quickly, as you should, really. You know, we'll talk about that in a minute. But I thought, wow, the little 5x7s, that would be cool, you know. And the other reason I started doing those little 5x7s studies was, I don't, you know, the weather here is quite changeable. It's an island, you know, so it could be really nice in the morning, and then the clouds come in a few hours later. You know how it is if you ever lived on an island, and you get set up with your whole plein air deal, and you know, next thing you know, the lights changed, the weather's changed, and I just didn't like it. I don't like it. I like to have a certain amount of control over my work environment. So my thought was that I could do a little 5x7 study as kind of like a little plein air, a little quick sketch, with the added benefit of having a neat little painting for one. For two, not so much these days, but I was getting quite a few tourists through the studio there. And tourists tend to buy small paintings because they fit in suitcases. Also, they fit into people's budget. It's an affordable original, which I think is awesome. I love affordable originals, and I'm all about that. I'm always doing small paintings, and not just for that reason. I love to do small paintings, but also they go fairly quickly. You don't have to charge an arm and a leg, and you're getting a lot of good painting experience. So that's what I thought I'd do. I thought, well, this has got some issues. I'll see how it works as a 5x7. And as it turns out, it worked out really well. And my approach was, my logic was, I'm going to do this as a sepia and then bring in some greens and colors. So it's very limited, except for where I push it into some yellows and into some greens and oranges. And at the very end, you will see I pop in a bit of really light, almost white, and that really makes the whole painting, if you ask me. So it was a big success, and sorry for that, Sybil. Circling back around. I always circle back around, folks. That's why if you're bailing out at the 6-minute mark, you may not get to me actually finishing my point. And we're all different, This is just my communication style. I give you about 10 sidebars, but I always bring it back, and I'm going to bring it back to why this was a great thing to do after a big absence from the studio, because it was setting myself up for success, and that's what you want to do. You're going to have lots of failures, and one of the reasons I always recommend painting a lot is so you don't get hung up on those failures. You just like, okay, yesterday didn't go so well. The next day, set yourself up for something you can do pretty well and have a success, and you'll be buzzing from the success. And nothing succeeds like success. So the next day you're set up for, more success, and not saying you always have to do something is going to be successful. I'm saying if you failed recently, go for the next thing, make it something successful, and then after a few good successes, then maybe it's time to challenge yourself with something that you're trying to learn at or get better at, As it turns out, I think this will make a nice, 11 by 14. And you're wondering, what was wrong with the reference, Mike? Why don't you show us? Well, I'll tell you why I don't show you the reference. First of all, the wiseacres go, I like the reference better. I think the reference is better. I don't need you guys. So, I mean, I've got plenty of self-confidence and plenty of ability, but I don't need to weather those slings and arrows. So that's one reason I don't share the reference, too. It's like, you don't need to see the reference. Just watch me put the painting together, That's a lot. That's more than we had. Everyone's so spoiled these days, I have to say. I'm, mid-50s, right? I didn't have stuff like this when I was a kid. You had Bob Ross, and you know what? Bob Ross had a completed painting outside this the screen there. He wasn't just coming up with that stuff. He was basically prefigured it out and then did it. But still very appreciative for Bob. He was it, him and Bill Alexander, who's really good, actually. I like Bill. I like Bob too, but you didn't have people just, sharing. I have like 600-700 videos. I haven't counted lately, but I love to record my process. I love to share. It's really about watching the process. So, you see it for what it is, something that's pretty awesome. Yeah, and then you get tips and stuff on top. So that's a big win-win. Yeah. Anyway, I was going to talk about time it takes. Okay, how long did this painting take? Well, that's the other thing. I'm in the studio. I haven't been at the art center for a while, so Lots of my friends, they want to chat and see what's up. And next thing you know, the whole day's pretty much gone, and I have no painting done. And meanwhile, I have this like self-programming desire to make a painting and feel, like I'm a painter. You can't be a painter unless you do paintings. It's just a fact. So I sat down and I says, well, I don't care how long it takes. I'm going to do me this little painting. And it wasn't until later in the day I even got started. But it took me about an hour to do this. And I will say probably I know what I'm doing. I do this stuff all the time. So, probably back in the day it might have taken me twice that time or something. One thing about this painting is I didn't bother pre-mixing any colors. Didn't have time. So, I'm always getting comments like, oh, you want to see the palette? I want to see what you're doing. Well, join the live area and watch this video, because every color is being mixed right in front of you. Okay, it's nothing pre-done. And I do think I had a really good idea with that. I'm going to go basically sepia, umber, and then bring in the color. And it really turned out well. I've been playing with that approach a bit on another painting, which I won't be showing on the channel because the painting itself is not good. But the idea was good, the approach was good, there was a lot of successes in the process. And that's the other thing, man. So you fail, big deal. I see so many people, they're so hung up with that, and of course you want to succeed, but you need to learn to love the process. Like, I love the process so much that if I'm not doing the painting, I don't feel that great, It's about the painting. And if you do a good one, great. What do you want to do next? You want to do another good one, I remember someone asked me, it's like, oh, do you have any masterpieces? It's like, yeah, my last good painting, I'm not into being precious. And that's we got another minute. I could probably talk about my whole precious rap. And that actually, I just was working on a much bigger painting yesterday, because I was writing the success of this, of feeling good and going after something a bit bigger, and a very complicated scene, a forest scene, which is one of the toughest types of things to paint because of all the simplification, and which just went really, really great. Yeah, sorry. It took me a minute to remember my point. Sometimes it happens. The point was, what I was talking about during this, going to be pretty long video, maybe 4 or 5 hours. Like I said, a very complex scene, but you don't want to be precious about what you're doing. You want to be offhand about what you're doing, and to get to the point where something you're doing offhand is actually good means that you have to do a lot of it, and get good that way. But you don't actually, by being so there were certain brush strokes I used to do that were very artful and I would say a bit self-conscious. I mean, they're nice, but they're too precious, and you don't want to be precious. You want to be offhand. You want to just get the things down, get the color down, and move through things in a fairly expedient manner. Somebody was in my studio asking me, oh, how long does it take? That's like the #1 question, everyone. If I said, oh, this one took me 2 years, they'd be like, wow, that's why you're asking. No, I don't even ask that much for my work. It's in the hundreds usually, unless it's really big. I says, no. I says, you gotta do it fairly quickly. You gotta move through things quickly. You have to have it takes a lot of time to get the prep. It takes a lot of time to get good. And not only that, you can only do so many paintings in a year. It's not like you're gonna sit down and do, like a painting like this, it took me an hour. I'm not gonna do 8 of these in a day. No way. I start getting tired, and I don't have the freshness of mine. There's that white I told you about. Yeah, that looks great. Anyway, and I'll talk more about the precious thing in the future. I just want to hit you with that while I get it down in the video blog format. Thank you for joining me today. Consider, Actually, you can send me a donation on my site. I know that button wasn't working for a while. A lot of you maybe tried. Or join the members area, buy a painting. Oh, leave me a comment saying, gee, Mike, thanks for this painting. Appreciate you, man. And I do appreciate you, and I hope you're having a great day, and I will be back real soon with another video. Meanwhile, please do me a favor, do me a solid. Take good care of yourself, your family, all your loved ones. Be patient with people that have different beliefs, and stay out of trouble.